because people think when they see a fever, it's bad. No, it's good. Well, just like the symptoms of when somebody's going through a detox, they may go in. The more toxic they are, the more unpleasant the effects are. It doesn't
Yeah, you just got
necessarily
to
mean it's
ride it
bad,
out.
though. That's my
Fevers are
point.
bad. Fevers are bad because they can damage you. They can cause brain
Of course.
damage.
Let me check your role, Brenda. It says Glober, of
They
course.
cause fevers. That doesn't mean anything.
If they,
Fevers
you're right.
cause
If they get out of hand,
damage.
if they get out of hand,
Yes, yes, they do.
yeah, if they get out
So,
of hand, but they're doing what they're supposed to do.
so it's a good idea to reduce your fever,
No, not if
especially
your
with children.
body's,
That's
not if your
wrong.
body's doing it.
That's wrong, and you won't find a doctor on this planet who will say otherwise.
Yeah, you're
Brenda?
No,
wrong.
you won't.
Brenda, what is the third leading cause of death?
Uh, I don't know. Probably automobile crashes. I don't know.
Let me tell you. Medical error is third leading cause of death in America. So,
I don't know
no
if that's
doctor
true.
would tell you, and you tell me I should trust these guys that make all these errors?
That doesn't. It doesn't follow that because people make mistakes that they're
You
wrong.
said no doctor.
Yeah, it doesn't
So,
follow.
like every doctor, you're saying that as every doctor is correct.
It doesn't follow that because there are people who die due to medical errors that medicine is wrong. Those things don't go together.
Third leading cause of death. Here, first is 25% heart disease. Second, 24% cancer. Third, 23% medical error.
Yeah, I don't know
Well, you
where
know,
you
at
get
least
that.
That's
I just
usually in a
Googled it.
hospital
Third leading cause of death.
situation. That's usually in a
at least
hospital
they're not drilling.
situation.
It doesn't say that. It says unintentional injuries. It doesn't say medical error. It says
Here, I'll
unintentional
give you.
It says unintentional
What?
injury. I'm
What do you
looking at it
think
right
an
now.
unintentional injury is, Brenda?
That's where you. That's an
Falling off a
accident where you
ladder.
fall down. Yeah.
Falling off a ladder is an unintentional injury.
And so it doesn't say anything like that at all. You're
All right,
wrong.
hold on. I'll back up my claim. I'll post what came in my thing. Tag it to your name, Brenda.
My,
Here we
my
go.
my sixth grade science teacher even said that it's not always good to reduce a fever unless it gets out of hand. 103, 104. Yeah, then time to reduce a fever. But if you're like sitting at 100, 101, 102, don't worry about it because, and the way he explained it to the class that day was, he said the reason why you have a fever to begin with is because the good guys are fighting off the bad guys, and that's what's causing you to heat up. And
Yeah, but if you cool
then he,
yourself down, does that diminish the work of those, you know, of whatever's going on inside? Does it slow down the?
well
I'd assume so.
he even said in class that if you take a Tylenol or a fever reducer to reduce your fever, then that's more or less killing, or not killing, but nullifying the good guys, and then the bad guys take over.
And now your body's got something extra to deal with too.
Exactly.
Yeah, the big question is
Why are you
body
voting?
going on to
That's the big
cause
question.
your body to create?
Sounded like you were drunk, Rod's Cap, over there for a sec.
Oh, really?
Slurring all over the
Oh,
place.
how about now? Am I good now? I'm having the internet issue.
I think it's Discord.
right
Yeah,
now.
you seem okay. Well, just try. Try, guys.
No, I'm trying now. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I just
Check.
looked it
Oh.
up on Google, and it says here, fever reduces treat a symptom, not the cause of an illness, and lowering your temperature may get in the way of your body's normal defenses and actually prolong the sickness.
Or do some damage, some serious damage, I think, maybe. I'm not sure if that's true, though. So, yeah,
That's from
it's bad.
goodrx.com.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing. I've been hearing that. Because basically, see, the thing with the medical industry is like our body is designed to heal and repair itself. We just got to stay
That's
out of
right.
its way.
That's
Yeah.
that's not the case. I mean, we have medical doctors for a reason, because people don't recover from diseases and illnesses.
Who funded the what is it, allopathic industry
That's
and
called
smeared
that's called the
and smeared
genetic
the
fallacy.
homeopathic industry?
Homeopathy is a laughing stock. It doesn't work.
Do you know
But
why people
medical
think it's a laughing
doctors
stock?
are
Because it's
trained
been
to
smeared.
treat symptoms, not the cause.
No, that's
And
not true.
often
That's false.
often that causes deeper problems or more problems.
No, medicine treats the cause in most cases. In the case of,
No.
say, a virus or a fever, where you have a virus, right? There isn't an antiviral always for everything. So then you treat the symptoms. But if you can, you treat
Yeah,
the
but
cause.
often treating the symptoms can prolong the illness
Possibly.
or make it worse.
But also, if you don't treat the symptoms, the patient suffers unnecessarily, right?
No, but that
the
suffering
symptoms-
is not always bad. That's the point, I think.
Well, sometimes it is bad. That's the point.
Well, it depends on the
Why-
patient
why
and
is
the
it bad?
circumstances.
Because fevers cause brain damage.
Only extreme fever.
Yeah, well, it's better to be safe than sorry, right?
Is it?
Yes.
If it's not an extreme
Yes, it is.
fever, is it going to cause damage?
No.
That's the thing with you. That's
a
the thing
mild
is
fever-
everybody always wants to go to the extreme scale on all these subjects, right?
Well, you should be cautious. I would rather not get brain damage from having a fever.
Have you had a fever as a child? An extreme one? No, I'm never mind.
I've had measles. I had measles. I had chicken pox. I had measles. I had chicken pox.
Brenda, sorry,
mumps.
it was a bad joke.
Well,
it was a bad
that's
joke.
fine, but that's what I expect.
I did. I
Oh,
did
come
when I
on.
had pneumonia. You know, I had an.
I've never had pneumonia,
That was bad.
but
Yeah,
But
that is
medicine-
bad. That's one of
medicine-
the leading causes of death.
yeah, medicine is a science, and it's a science because it works, because it treats the causes. The causes are viruses and bacteria, right? And other things, of course, also in addition. To
Not in
those.
all cases, though. Not in all cases.
What do you mean?
No,
not in all
often.
cases?
Wait, hold on. Slow down. Slow the buggy down here for a little bit. Oftentimes, okay, so some of the stuff you're saying is true, but there's a great majority of medicine that does not treat the cause. For instance, diabetes, heart and stroke diseases. Those are the main staples of our society right now, and we're not treating the causes of those.
Well,
We're just
because we
merely
can't.
masking the. Yeah, you can actually. You can cure diabetes
No,
through
you
diet.
can't. No, you.
Yeah, you fucking can.
No,
I
you
get
can't.
it. You fucking. Yes,
No,
you
that's-
can.
No, you can't.
100%. Yes. I
Type
amazed
2,
my doctor.
just
dude.
not type 1. Type 1 can't be cured,
Correct.
but
No,
type
not
2
type
can.
1. Type 2,
You can,
yes.
you
that's
can correct
correct.
type 2, but
2.
you can't treat. You can treat some things, and you can.
Sure, I should have been more accurate in what I said. Type 2 diabetes, you can cure.
Right, with diet. Well,
But they
it's not
don't.
a cure.
They-
It's a treatment. There's a difference between a treatment and a
No,
cure.
it cures it. It
It
cures it,
doesn't
dude.
cure.
So
it.
then
what's the
It's a
difference?
treatment.
Yes,
Then
it
you can
does.
stop
The
your
treatment-
you can stop your special diet that cured it after you're cured of type 2, and then go back and not ever get
Yes. Well, no, over time
No, yeah.
you will, but not like the next
Okay.
day, maybe years down the road,
That's what a
depending on how
treatment is.
bad your diet is. No, it's not.
Yeah, that's what a
it's-
treatment is. If you
it's-
stop the treatment, then you'll get it again.
No,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah, you
no.
will.
That's not okay. So then what you're saying is like through diet, you're not curing scurvy. You're just treating it. So you always have scurvy for the rest of your life. You're just treating it by changing your diet. Is that what you're telling me?
No, scurvy isn't
Okay.
caused by the same thing. Scurvy is literally
Right.
a deficiency in vitamin C.
So it's the same idea except the other way around. You introduce too much sugar into your body, and it's poisoning your body. You stop putting the poison into your body. Oh, look at that! You become well. That's what it is. You're poisoning your body, and your body's reacting to it. You guys still there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Just got quiet
Well, what
there.
I react to is I hear excessive amounts of pseudoscience, pseudo
That's
quack medicine.
that's
In
not
these in this
pseudoscience. What I'm talking about.
what you're talking about is not pseudoscience. Yes, you can treat diabetes 2 with diet.
Okay, so same thing with high blood pressure and cholesterol. All those can be corrected with diet as well.
Possibly, I don't know, but possibly.
I know for sure.
And exercise. Exercise
Yeah,
is
yeah,
very, very powerful.
Sure.
yeah. So here's the thing though. High blood pressure, diabetes, and cholesterol are all like they're leading on our medical systems,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
Okay,
here's
but
It's
and
hardly
so
news though. I mean,
no,
doctors,
but
but
you're
doctors talk
saying
about this all the time.
doctors.
but
You're saying doctors treat the problems. I'm saying
They
doctors
do.
generally don't. They
look,
mask the
They
problem.
do treat
I'll say
problems.
this. I'll say this. I'll say this. Let me jump in real quick. Here's the stupidity of what you're saying, though, right now, Brenda.
Who?
You're
Come on,
right.
Brenda.
They try to treat it, but here's the problem. When you have high blood pressure, they give you medicine. Then you have side effects from that medicine. Then they give you another medicine to treat those side effects, which only then give you another side effect. And it's this continuous. If you ever okay, so my ex-father-in-law, he used to take like 7 or 6 different pills because they're all to counter each other. Which originally started with taking one pill for high blood pressure. So their whole scheme of it is ridiculous because they're trying to tell you take this pill to help you with high blood pressure. But then it started this domino effect of causing all these other things that he never had before. But the medicine he was taking gave it to him. So with that, all he had to do was do something on the natural side of it. Fuck medicine. Fuck what the pharmaceutical companies are making for you. All that does is give you more problems in the long run. If you start something on the natural side of it, let's say the Eastern medicine, not like you're saying the pseudo quack medicine. I'm saying Eastern medicine that actually does help and does fix people in a natural way. When you do it that route, then guess what? You don't have all these other dumbass side effects.
I think you're unfairly representing what medical medicine actually would say. I think that actual doctors would tell somebody with high blood pressure they need to reduce their sodium. Probably they need to
It's
get
not
more
sodium.
exercise.
That's
They
the thing, Brenda. You can't eat enough sodium to affect your
It's
blood pressure
caused
like
high
that.
blood pressure is caused by a large amount of sodium in your
No.
diet.
Not
Maybe
alone.
Getting enough
Not alone.
exercise, quit smoking, right?
That's
Get
just
out,
it.
get
It's
out,
always
get
a
out and get some
complement of
exercise.
things.
But that's what a doctor would tell you. And then in addition, he would say, here's a pill to help reduce the symptoms that you have right now. But
you
in the
should,
long run, you should do these things like
Brenda. If
get
you
some more
seen how much
exercise.
salt I ate, you would swear I was gonna die next week. But I don't eat white normal table salt either. I use like Himalayan sea salt, and I honestly think there's a difference
There's no
between the
difference.
salts. There
There's no
is
difference.
actually.
Salt is
Yeah,
salt.
one acts like glass on your veins, and the other one doesn't.
No, there's just salt. It's just salt with a few impurities in it.
The
That's all.
cholesterol that goes high is cholesterol that's trying to heal your body. It's actually when your cholesterol's high like that, your body's actually trying to heal itself. So you're doing something inside your body that's causing it to react, and it has to do a lot with your diet.
Well, having high cholesterol is dangerous because it increases your
Well, of
risk
course it's dangerous,
of a
but what
heart
are you
attack.
doing that's causing it to, I agree. High cholesterol is dangerous. I don't disagree with that. But where I'm trying to talk to you is what are you doing to the inside of your body that's causing your body to try to heal itself? Because that's what the cholesterol's doing.
So let me go further now. So here's what happened. So after he started taking these pills, he did change his diet. He did start this light exercise to help him because he's an older man. He can't necessarily go out and just start pumping iron. So he was walking, a lot more, eating right. Everything was changing, but the the side effects from the medicines he was taking actually ended up making his blood pressure go up, even though he was taking the steps for it to go down. So it was almost like um a catch 22. So what he ended up doing, to tell you the end of the story, he just stopped taking all the medicines, just ate
Yeah.
right and exercised. And then he healed himself, if you will, by just walking and
Yeah.
eating right.
And
And also,
I'm sure his doctor would have approved of all those things.
no,
Yeah,
his
the
a doc.
body
No,
isn't
no, no, no. Hold
designed to
on.
heal itself.
No, no. Hold on. Let me explain something. The doctor, his recommendation was for him not to stop taking the medicine. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong, Brenda. There are actual good doctors who aren't worried on a kickback from pharmaceutical bonuses. I get that, but unfortunately, there are too many doctors that are making money off these bonuses. I know because my brother-in-law is one of those dudes who go to doctors and try to push drugs for them to use their drugs. So believe me, I know the game. I know how it goes down. And the problem though is that has driven too many greed has driven too many doctors to focus more on giving people pills to try to fix something that they themselves know this shit's not going to fix you. It's going to make things worse in the long run, as opposed to real doctors who are no, 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 I'm good. I don't want to push the drugs, thank you, because I want to focus on good healthy diet and exercise, because ultimately that heals us more natural and more effective, most likely, than any other drug you can put out there in the long
Yeah.
run.
I really don't think there's any doctors anywhere who would say that people are getting too much exercise and they're in too good of a shape and they're not getting enough salt, they're not getting enough other things, nitrates and things like that, and that they should eat more sugar. No doctor on earth would say such a thing. And
Okay, now
I think you're overly skeptical of the medical community.
no, okay, again, I just told you something that actually happened. My ex-father-in-law lived
Yeah,
through this
I understand what you
horrendous
said.
2 years, 3 years of dealing with all these different medications, and you're telling me I don't think there's a doctor that would do that. Well, guess what?
No, I
It
don't.
did happen. It did happen.
No, what
Well,
I'm
true,
saying,
true. You kind of put words in my mouth. I didn't say that
no,
he said go eat sugar and don't, I didn't
right.
say that.
I think a doctor would approve of everything that your friend said, which was to get
You're
more
saying you think
exercise. Yes, yes,
You're
yes,
saying you
I do.
think, but I'm telling you that's
Yes.
not what happened. I'm telling you
Well,
that's
that's
not what
just.
happened. No, not that's not to
Did
say
his
that a
doctor
doctor wouldn't.
disapprove of what he did?
Yeah, he
He,
said don't go off the medication
yes,
where
exactly. I'm
Yeah.
because of
telling you,
this.
Brenda, you're not listening. The doctor told him, "No, I don't advise you to stop this." Now, again, I'm agreeing with you, saying that a doctor, not all doctors, but there are doctors who would say, "Oh no, yes, yes, don't take this," and because they believe in healthy diet and exercise, and they
Well,
don't want to push drugs, but they're also not money greedy, hungry fucks
I don't
that love
think
to do that.
I
Yeah,
don't think that that's
often
true.
often
I
they're
think he
covering
probably
their
had.
asses legally as well by telling the patient not to stop taking a certain
Well,
medication.
also, they actually know the patient and they know the science behind it. And so I would think that the doctor had good reasons for
Actually,
telling your
can,
friend or your
can I
brother not to stop taking the medicine.
let me butt in a little bit, Brenda?
You're
Like,
not
I'm
getting
sorry.
it.
Listen, my dad died of diabetes. The diabetes runs throughout my family, and I beat diabetes through my research and my study. Um, and I've had family members that have died of cancer and researched that because of it and stuff. But I want to stick on diabetes for a second. One of the things about diabetes, you go into the doctor, they say, "Oh, look at this, your A1C is getting really high, you're pre-diabetic, you need to start eating healthy, do some exercise, and by the way, here's some like metformin or whatever, here's some uh, insulin to help you out." And the doctor will tell you you should lose weight, you got to lose weight. The problem is what a lot of the doctors probably don't even know is that insulin causes you to gain weight. You actually can't lose weight while taking excessive amounts of insulin. They've actually done these studies with healthy guys that don't have diabetes, have a clean diet, or active and whatnot. They started giving them insulin, and these guys started gaining weight. They couldn't lose the weight, all things being equal. So these medications that they're giving you, they're working. Sure, they're probably helping keep your blood sugar down a bit or whatever, but they're also working against you to be able to, defeat this thing called diabetes type 2. I should be very specific, I guess. Type 2 diabetes.
Yeah, I understand. I
Without,
understand what you're saying.
so it's working against you. Everything that you're trying to do to naturally overcome this, the medications they're giving you to help you through it are actually holding you back from ever getting off the medications.
I don't believe all that. I think that you should do
Well,
both. I think
it's
you
not
should-
about a belief, Brenda.
Yeah, it is.
They
I
did
think
the
you should
studies,
do-
dude.
I think you should do both. If you need to take insulin, you should take the insulin and also change your diet. If you have
You
high
don't
blood
understand the
pressure,
insulin's working against you, though.
you can take just you can manage that. You
I
can
think
manage
there's a
weight
fine
gain.
line here.
You can manage
it-
weight gain. And so
it-
if you have
No, the
hypertension-
insulin actually stops you from losing weight, Brenda. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. It actually works against you.
I understand that. But you can still
Well,
you
how can you say you understand that and then tell me you can manage weight gain
Because
when
you
I'm telling
can.
you the medication makes you gain weight? In
It
healthy males, it makes them gain weight, Brenda.
It doesn't make you gain. It doesn't make you put that extra spoon of food in your mouth.
No, unhealthy males that continue a healthy diet, they're gaining weight.
Yes. So you need to.
It's not
consume-
about the spoon, dude.
Yes, it is. It's about how many calories.
Oh
you
my
put-
God, you're not
It's about
listening.
how many calories you put.
Sometimes I think Brenda's paid just to come cause discord.
It's not
No.
about calories. It's
Yes,
not
it
about
is.
calories. No, that's old
You
fucking
can't gain calories.
information.
You can't gain weight. if
Well,
you
Scalpel,
don't
can
eat.
you explain it all? Do you know why it is that this happens? That insulin reduces the body's ability to shed weight or whatever. Do you what's the reason? Otherwise, we're just speaking at each other from opinion and. Because I think ultimately there's a fine line here between taking medication and giving the body the best chance it has to heal itself.
I'm
Because
just
the
saying-
body is designed to heal itself if you
Well,
It is.
give it.
it
all
it
the
doesn't,
best,
It doesn't always, though. And if you have a condition,
Of course, not always. It depends on the illness and the health of the patient. So every case is different, So I think
Well,
people
that's
need
why
to
you
take
should do-
responsibility.
That's why you should
for-
take the
for
advice
their
of your
health and-
doctor. That's
For-
why you should take
for the
advice of your
majority-
doctor. And
for
I
the
think
majority of
consider the
sicknesses-
advice. Consider the advice, but remember that it's only one part of the overall
and it's biased.
journey.
consider it's
so,
biased.
so
Good
I'm
health.
I'm just saying people should do both.
It can be.
People should change their lifestyles and eating habits and take insulin or the blood pressure pills or the hypertension pills. They should do both. And every
Sure.
doctor who prescribes those things will say exactly that. You should
Yeah.
change your diet, but you need to take this medicine to help you.
And that's
In the
Brenda.
meantime-
What you're saying right now was the problem with my ex-father-in-law. His doctor was saying, yes, change your diet and eat right, and then get exercise, but also take these pills. So then he followed those instructions, but all it did was lead to worse conditions because it was counterproductive in his body. But the doctor still prescribed a remedy for him, but all that remedy was going to continue filling that doctor's pockets because of a bonus that he's going to get for pushing these drugs that ultimately weren't helping my ex-father-in-law in the long run. So he went against his word and said, you know what, I'm done taking all this medicine, because why am I taking this to combat this, to combat this? And then it just does a full circle. He realized the idiot that the doctor was, because he didn't know what the fuck he was prescribing or doing other than making money. And then he stopped it all. He just kept with the diet and the exercise against the doctor's suggestions. He ends up, guess what, healing himself. His high blood pressure was no longer there, and that medicine had nothing to do with it. No, the medicine had nothing to do with it. If anything, the medicine was stopping. It was stopping. Yes, I do know that, because that's exactly what happened. That's the problem with people like you in science, that I'm telling you facts. Just like when someone's telling you, hey, you can't see past 9 miles. You're like, yeah, but that's blah, blah. It's like the same fucking argument, and that's why it's hard to get through to people.
Well,
yes, because you're saying.
I'm going to say that it's also really hard to get through the white coat syndrome. There's an actual thing called the white coat syndrome. And when you have somebody who's sitting there with a white coat, who's done there 4 years, but only half a day's worth of nutrition, you're going to find that those people don't really know what they're talking about. Because I was a vegan for a year and a half, could not lose weight, could not, for the life of me. I kept gaining weight on a vegan lifestyle.
Of course you would gain weight on veganism. Of course you would.
Well, here's the problem. First I was organic, then I was kosher, then I was vegetarian, then I was vegan, and it didn't. For everybody else, it had the opposite effect. Everybody else I knew who was vegan kept losing weight. Now here I was actually trying to heal my gut, and none of that worked. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You got bread and butter and extra silverware.
Oh God, no. Thank you.
Yeah, bread and butter. Bread and butter you're not going to lose weight consuming bread and butter as a vegan.
I just ordered a steak. They put the bread and butter in there on the side. I didn't ask for it.
Yeah,
I said no salad.
All right, hold on a sec. I want to hear Light Energy story.
I went carnivore and lost 30 pounds.
Yes,
by going
of course.
Carnivore.
A ketone.
High fat.
You went into ketosis, right? You followed a keto.
Low carb.
That's what anybody that loses weight does.
Yeah.
It's low carb.
Yeah, that's why she couldn't lose weight when she was a vegan.
No carbs.
Well, what about the vegan diet? Was keeping
the carbohydrates were.
It's opposite of what a doctor is going to tell you. Any doctor out there with a white coat on is going to say, eat your fruits and vegetables.
Hi, but what was obviously me?
What?
I don't know who that was.
I'm asking Harry. Hannibal said it was obviously me. I don't know what he's talking about.
Nobody was talking to you.
What?
You seem to be
tagged me.
What's wrong with you, buddy?
You seem to be talking to somebody else.
Oh, sorry, it's wrong server.
Oh, God.
Oops.
That's funny.
No,
I'm just saying
a
doctor is going to tell you a lot of things that they don't understand. My sister was a cardiac rehabilitation specialist and was trying to tell everybody that coconut oil is bad for you. No, coconut oil feeds your brain.
It's high fat. It's very high in fat.
High fat isn't bad for you, dude.
It's very
It
high
depends on the type of fat.
Coconut oil is extremely high in cholesterol.
Not MCT. MCT oils aren't bad for you.
But
medium
it's
chain
the good
triglycerides.
Oils.
That's what MCT stands for. Medium chain triglycerides. And listen, doctors, just because doctors go to school to get medical degrees doesn't mean they know anything about nutrition. Yeah, they don't actually. They only take, I think it's only a month out of all their schooling about nutrition.
They get
my aunt's a doctor.
That's
dude. my aunt's a doctor, and my uncle called me up because my family, like I said earlier, has struggled with diabetes. And he called me up and he's talking like he found God, so to speak. He's like, I got to tell you something. You need to know about this and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what is this? And he starts talking about the ketogenic diet, which I had already studied for the last year and a half, but he didn't realize it. But anyhow, and he starts telling me about it. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And he goes, why didn't anybody tell us this stuff before? And his wife, so he's my blood, like he's blood, my uncle is. So his wife is the doctor, my aunt. And he's telling me like how the way they found out about it. She's a doctor. She's been a doctor for years. She used to be a military doctor, and she knew nothing about the ketogenic diet. And her patients were coming in with like awesome numbers on blood sugars and cholesterol and all this other shit. They were basically healing themselves through lowering their sugar intake, processed sugar. Therefore, you lower. That's how obviously you lower your carbs as well. But you know that's how she got onto it as a doctor because of her patients. So that, like, Brenda, when you start saying, you know, some of us don't know what we're talking about and shit, I tend to disagree with you. You don't know who we are or what we've experienced. You just throw this shit out there, it seems like. But no, I'm not a doctor, but I do actually have a doctor in the family that has actually had her practice affected by her patients going on a ketogenic diet. And now she prescribes changing diet over medication. But it's not because of her training, Brenda. It's not because of her training. It's because people have gone out and done the research themselves and experimented on themselves. That's why. Not because anything they know.
I think Brenda's just resisting the unnecessary skepticism or overly skepticism of doctors and medicine. And that's a fair thing.
Syndrome. It's a reaction to what I hear an awful lot online. Is quack therapy and pseudoscience, paranoia, and conspiracy theories.
So that's quack therapy, what I just talked about.
Okay, Brenda.
I don't think.
Let me say this.
Ketogenic diets are quackery. I don't think that.
Brenda, think about it.
Well, can you give us an example of a quack therapy that you've heard people talk about?
One that I've heard right now is this claim that Himalayan pink salt is somehow a miracle cure, and it isn't.
I didn't. Hold on.
Nobody said it's a miracle cure.
It was a miracle cure.
I said there's a difference between regular salt.
No, there's a difference between it and regular table salt.
It has a few other minerals. Big deal.
A few. It's more than a few.
It's very few, and it isn't going to do anything.
No, the difference is
Have a piece of fruit, and you'll get as much magnesium.
No.
You'll get as much
Here's what you don't understand.
This
isn't. Just stop for a second. For starters, I didn't say it was any kind of miracle cure. What I did say is there's a big difference between regular white table salt and Himalayan salt. And I didn't say what the difference was at the time. But if you want, I can say what the difference is now. If you want me to explain.
I know that there's a difference in the minerals, but those are trace amounts.
There's also effect. There's a bigger difference that.
But you can't say that they have no effect.
Yes, I can.
You can't say that those trace minerals have no effect.
For starters, that's not even what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that doesn't matter.
They're in trace amounts in the salt, and the salt
so they're just going to straw man the shit out of me.
Just going to sprinkle on your food.
Go ahead, straw man.
Next to nothing.
Yeah, go ahead, straw man it.
I eat trace amounts of arsenic all the time.
Here's a big difference between Himalayan pink salt and table salt in Europe. I'm not talking about here because I have not found any white table salt here that has this. But in Germany, they add fluoride to white table salt. So there is a big difference between regular table salt and Himalayan pink salt.
There's nothing wrong with fluoride. That would be why I react so much, because there's nothing wrong with fluoride. That's a conspiracy theory. It's been long debunked.
Brenda,
long time.
Where in nature do we Where in nature do we get fluoride naturally?
Virtually
Right.
all natural water sources have fluoride, some fluoride in them. In
Well,
some
now
places, there's
because
too
there's so much
much.
contamination.
You mean a natural fresh stream
Yes.
in the
Yes.
forest will have fluoride in it?
Yes. Yes.
Bullshit.
No,
Yeah,
that's
because it's
not.
because it's
Micro
been
traces.
contaminated.
It's in virtually all water in varying degrees. Some places will actually have too much fluoride in the water, and their treatment plants have to remove
Brett,
it
Brandon,
So
how much
where
do you
does
get
this
paid?
fluoride come from?
Wow.
from the ground, from the
No.
earth, because that's where water comes from. It's filtered through the earth.
So you're saying fluoride's a natural mineral that's found in all waters?
It's in a lot of places, yes. So are other impurities, sometimes bad ones. Like there's a certain amount of arsenic that's in water supplies. Sometimes it's simply due to the local rocks and the local environment. But
Wow.
fluoride is well understood, and it's perfectly good. It helps reduce dental
Look,
caries.
I think the rule that most people should go by when it comes to taking medication, that is man-made pills and medication and such, should be if you need to take it to stay alive or to prevent your body from having a catastrophic event that leads to death, then take that drug. Otherwise, do everything you can to give your body the best chance it can to heal itself, because that's what
Well,
it's designed to do.
I understand your point, but if you take two populations of people, one population that follows that advice, and another one that has a healthcare system based on medical science, the people in following medical science will live longer, happier,
That's actually not
healthier
true.
That's
lives.
actually not
It's
true.
Okay,
absolutely
why is
true.
it that Chinese and Japanese people live so much longer than Western people?
I don't know that they do.
Well,
So you're
generally they do.
arguing something you
I
don't
don't
know
know that
nothing
they do.
about.
Most Chinese people are incredibly poor
So, so
and
you
have
just
very
made a
little health
statement
care.
as a
That's the
fact.
recent history.
So you just made a statement as a fact, yet you don't know that these people are living longer than we are.
Well, I don't know
Okay,
what
where's
their
then your
I don't know.
economic status has to do with their health status either. Like, they're poor, so they're not going to live as. They're poor, so they're not as healthy.
The Chinese medical industry decided to delay vaccines for infants until they are 3 years old. Now they have one of the highest infant survival rates, and the United States has one of the worst.
I don't
So
think I
tell
ever
me,
met a
you tell
I don't
autistic
know
me
that
Chinaman.
that's true.
how the medical industry is so much better when we see a reversal on Western medicine in other countries right now.
So life expectancy in China is about 76 years, and in developed countries it's 80 years. So they aren't living longer than we are.
I'm not talking about the life expectancy. I'm
Yeah, I was
talking
addressing-
about infant mortality rate.
Yeah, I was addressing previous comments.
Yeah, well,
So
those
they're just
averages
wrong.
don't really reflect the reality, because you got a
okay.
lot of people dying young because of other causes, you know.
Right.
So I think generally the least reliance on artificial drugs, the better. As a rule, in general, I think that's the best way to go.
I'll just repeat what I said, which is that if you have a good healthcare system based on medical science, people will live longer and healthier, happier lives. And you're
But medical science
you're just
is
hand waving the facts. You said
no,
that
not at all.
Chinese people lived longer, and I proved to you they don't. They live to be about 76, and in developed countries to about 80.
Okay, but that's a statistic based on averages. On average, who has the higher number of people living to older ages?
Himalayans actually live to
I don't know.
over 100.
Yeah, Japanese too.
We don't know that. You're just
Yes,
relying
we
on
do.
people. No, you don't, because those are just people without birth records.
Yeah, they're lying
making-
about their age, light
It's
energy.
not lying.
They don't know how old they are.
They
Oh,
just
right.
don't know.
They just don't
might
know.
not
Yeah, they just don't know when a year goes by.
Yeah, because
they're
don't
retarded,
have,
pretty much.
They don't have. Well, they just don't have the records. So yeah,
They don't.
those
They don't
things
keep
can
track
be
of
mistaken.
birthdays. They're fucking stupid. They can't remember if they're 33 or 43, so they're fucked. Come on, Brenda. Seriously? You think people don't know how old they are? That's your
Yeah,
answer.
sometimes
Brenda.
they
Yeah,
don't.
actually.
Sometimes they don't.
Sometimes
Yeah.
people don't know how old they
How
are.
much do you get paid, Brenda, to come and just talk the nonsense you do in rooms?
I
like
don't
this?
get paid anything. I wish I did.
What would you say the
I come-
percentages
You
of
want to
people
know?
that don't
Hunza.
know their
You
age?
want to know why I come here? I'll tell you why I come here. Because
To save us.
No, I learn things by having to counter some of the other things that flat earthers talk about. So I've had to educate myself on the sciences behind what flat earthers talk about. So I learn things. That's what.
Well,
that's
why don't you go look up the Hunza people who can live up to 145 years, where most of them live well into their 90s.
I guarantee
They don't.
you.
They don't
I
do
guarantee
birthdays
you,
late
nobody.
energy.
There is no good documentation on anybody who has lived to 145.
They're doing those
I
in dog
guarantee
years,
you.
light energy. Those are dog years. Come on,
According to Brenda.
they're dog years. We know that.
That's the problem. Is even when you're talking about experiences that you or your family or yourself personally have gone through, and you're saying these are the facts because I've seen it, I lived it. Brenda says, nope, a medical science person didn't say that, or a scientist didn't say that, so she just proves it. And that's the problem with people like you, Brenda.
I think I pretty
Is that-
clearly said that people
To be
should.
fair, that goes
take-
both ways too.
And I
Just
think
because you know somebody that's had recovery because they've stopped taking those drugs doesn't mean that that's the right thing for everybody either.
No,
that's
yeah.
I agree.
I
That's
agree.
what
Yeah.
I was
agree
trying
with
to
that.
say.
I agreed with that. I even said, yeah, there's a lot of people that are this way and that way, but I'm saying sadly most it's fueled because you get a big bonus for pushing certain drugs on people that don't need the drugs. They just need a healthy diet and exercise.
Yeah,
Why
there
you
is
can't
generally-
agree with that, I don't get it.
There is
Because
generally too much drugs being handed out to people.
no, I don't think that that's true.
Of
Some
course.
drugs. There are some
And
drugs.
because you don't believe it,
Do you
that
think
means
it's
then
okay to
not
drug the
true.
water? Of course. Like
Yes.
anybody that thinks it's okay to
there's-
throw drugs
there's no
in everyday
opioid.
drinking water.
There's no opioid crisis in America either. That's got nothing to do with.
Well, fuck, there's
drugs being handed out
documentaries
like,
about that.
jelly
that is a
beans either.
horrible that is a horrible case of malfeasance on the part of the pharmaceutical companies, and some of those corporate CEOs.
The doctors are
should
the
be
ones
hung.
that are
It's the
handing it out.
doctors,
Listen,
Brenda.
Some of those corporate CEOs should be hung from the nearest tree. I agree with you on that.
But it's the doctors, though, Brenda, that are.
Yeah,
If the
pushing
doctors
it.
didn't push them, then the pharmaceutical
The
companies
doctors-
wouldn't be able to do it. Like they would just be a company that had a stock full of
Is it
pills.
the
The
doctor's
doctors
fault
were
that the
lied
patient
to.
abuses the prescription?
No, the doctors.
Is it the
were-
doctor's fault that the?
You know,
Is it the patient's fault that the doctor is it the patient's fault that they trusted the doctor in
No,
order to start
the
taking these
pharmaceutical
opioids?
company lied to the doctors. They lied to doctors about the safety
Okay,
of
but
the
then it
drugs
came
they were
out.
selling.
But then it came out, and then the doctors are still pushing it because it creates a big bonus. So who's now at fault? Okay, the CEO was, an asshole, and now the doctors are greedy assholes, and the patient now is hooked, and they can't help it because now they're hooked. It's like so everyone's fault. It's everyone's fault.
That's why doctors should use discernment and be very careful about who they give these drugs to, and should warn them very clearly when they do give them these drugs of the dangers associated with these drugs. and
Actually, you know
long-term
what, you
use.
guys? Honestly, it's 100% the patient's fault because they should research what they put into their body before they do it.
Absolutely, everybody
And-
should take
and-
responsibility.
I mean, you got
No, that's
there has
that's
to
what
be
it is.
some
They
there has
should
to be
less
some
like
accountability
Brenda
on the
and
patient.
more like the skeptical person and have
Well,
some
I am a
accountability for
skeptical
what they.
person.
You're not. You think, oh, the doctor says it's good, therefore I should put it in my body.
Because in my experience,
I think
the
she's
doctor is
she's
right.
just resisting.
Because 9 out of 10 dentists say it's okay for fluoride to be in toothpaste. That's why.
Because I have in the
Yeah,
past.
but
in
yet
the
if you
past, I
swallow
looked into-
toothpaste, you better call poison control because if your kid swallows toothpaste,
isn't what
call
it says.
poison control.
That
But that's
isn't what it
okay.
says.
We'll put that shit in your water.
That is not what that warning says. That's not what it says. You're exaggerating.
Oh,
Actually,
And then
exactly what it says.
The fluoride thing is well understood conspiracy theory based on fear and paranoia. I agree with you on some of the
Not
other
just
things.
fear and paranoia.
I absolutely agree with you
There
on
is some
other
validity
things.
to it.
I think that you can correct, you can treat your diabetes with diet. You can treat hypertension by consuming less salt. But I don't agree
salt
with
has
you
nothing
about,
to do with it.
Yes, it does.
It doesn't. If it does, it's only white salt. And the reason why it's white salt is because it's been so manipulated. The crystals don't break down, they get into your bloodstream and they scratch the inside of your veins, and therefore the cholesterol has to come out to heal them. Yeah. It's
That
like
is
glass to your vein.
No, it is. That's just not
Okay.
what happens at all. Just not.
Honestly,
Why-
that doesn't sound right.
Well, what does cholesterol do? What is cholesterol? What's the purpose of cholesterol? Why does your body produce cholesterol?
Well,
Does
because it
anybody know?
lubricates
No.
it lubricates the cardiovascular system.
Wrong.
Well, the good oils do. The good
Cholesterol.
good cholesterols.
The cholesterol is trying to cure your body. It's trying to heal it. That's what it does. So if you have high cholesterol, it means your body is working overtime on trying to heal. So what's causing the damage?
Heal what though? Heal what? Yeah,
Your
what's the
insides.
damage?
Right. Well, that's what you guys
Yeah,
can go
what
figure out.
sort of damage?
That's what you guys can go answer that question on your own time. Because I'm not going to sit here and argue
Yeah,
about
it's
it with Brenda.
absolutely cholesterol is necessary, right? But too much is not good. Things can, something
course.
can be good.
You can't
something can
eat
be
enough
good.
in your diet to affect your cholesterol.
Yes, you can.
No,
That's
you
why
can't.
you reduce it with your diet.
No. I can eat a high
There's those
cholesterol.
butters.
I
There's
can
those
eat a high
butters out there
cholesterol
that
diet.
have those the plant sterols in them that reduce your cholesterol.
I can eat a high cholesterol diet and have perfect cholesterol. I'm doing it. I've done it. I continue to do it.
Well, I
I'm-
think at that point though, Scalpel, it's because some bodies are different than others, and they produce more things than others. They could digest things better than others. For instance, I mean, people with a
There's
people
good
with-
science
people-
out there that you can't.
There's
get
like-
enough.
That's
Your
just the
body,
thing, isn't it?
Your body makes more cholesterol in the run of a day than what you can actually eat, than what you can
Yes.
physically eat. You can't. It's what you're eating isn't what the cholesterol's about. I mean, it can be in a way, but not in the way that you're thinking.
Everybody's biology is a very, very complicated system. So every person.
I said it a little bit wrong. I just want to correct myself. What I meant by what I said is cholesterol, eating cholesterol itself isn't a major factor in what your cholesterol is doing. What you eat, yes, can and will affect
Well,
your
what
cholesterol.
is cholesterol? Is it a fat or an oil, a type of fat or a type of oil?
It's used in rebuilding cells, and so it's absolutely necessary.
Hey,
So it's
clean
used
up
in
the bathroom, please.
rebuilding cells and things. So it's absolutely necessary.
So
But
you do have a
too
good
much is
cholesterol
bad.
and a bad cholesterol. Having a good they tell you, I forgot what it is, but when you go to doctors, they tell you there's it's like an acronym or it's initial, like you're like blah 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 cholesterol is good, and then your blah 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 cholesterol it's a little too high. We need to bring that down because that's your bad cholesterol. Like they tell you when you go to the doctors.
But that's not bad though, you guys. It's just the reason why it's bad is because it can kill you if there's too much. Yes, but it's what it's actually doing. It's doing its job. You're hurting your body. There's something that you're doing. Most likely, I'm gonna suggest diet and your body's trying to heal itself, and too much of it fucks up your body. Yes, but it's not bad per se. It's doing good.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said it's absolutely
Booby
essential.
traps.
It's essential.
Somebody
For,
said booby
it's
traps.
essential.
It's a
for
complicated
every-
subject, guys.
Yeah, and that's why
It's actually not that complicated.
That's why it's a complicated subject, and that's why it's good to take your doctor's advice, because they've spent their entire lives studying this, and you haven't.
How do you know?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean they're an expert on your biological system. I mean,
Oh, actually, that is what it means, because that's what
No,
they've spent their
Brenda,
whole
because
life
they've been learning.
studying.
Because there's doctors that will push medicine to heal that because that's what they've been taught, and that's what you don't understand. Just because
What
they
don't I
learned
understand?
in this system that we live in, they learned this is the way you handle this situation, and then so a patient comes in, they give them the prescription, and they've been taught that that's what fixes that. And that's the problem, because they were taught a certain way. The education
Why is
they
that a
acquired,
problem? Why is that a problem?
because that just like the other guy saying,
It's
everyone's
not necessarily a
body is
problem, but
different.
it can
Everyone's
be.
body's different, and that's not necessarily the fix
Well,
all.
Everybody's
That's
different,
not-
but everybody's the same in many ways. We're all human, and so the things that work for other people work for everybody, to lesser and greater
not
degrees.
necessarily.
To greater and lesser degrees, yes. Right?
Yeah, okay.
Antibiotics are going to work for most people, right?
Of
And
course.
anti-cholesterol drugs are going to work for most people. And some people,
The
it's gonna
problem
be
with
different.
Western medicine often is that they dismiss a lot of Eastern and herbal and natural remedies that because they haven't been scientifically proven
Right.
to have
Right.
results across the board,
because-
although they can be very, very good.
Right, because if they were, they'd be called medicine.
Oh my gosh, that is so. Never mind.
No,
I can't
there's-
with you anymore.
That
I can't.
medicine is a science. Medicine
Oh
is
my
a
God.
science. And so if herbs actually worked, that'd be called medicine. In
Okay,
fact, that's
did you
where
know
we get
that-
a lot of our
did you
medicines
know-
from our plants. We get a lot of medicines from plants.
Okay. All right. And you're right about that. They do. And then
Yeah.
you know what they do? You know what they do? They take something natural and then they make it into a pharmaceutical thing and then charge you a shitload for something you go get for 5 cents. You're right. They do that. That's the
They
problem with it.
synthesize it. They make it artificially in order to get a
synthesize it.
patent on it.
Well, also
Correct.
That's not
Something
always
that-
there's nothing wrong
necessarily
with
a
that.
bad
There's
thing,
nothing
though.
wrong with that. And
Of course,
so
there's nothing wrong with it. Not in a capitalistic society. You're right. There's
Well, I'm
everything
not
was right with that.
I'm not a communist, so I prefer capitalism.
Oh yeah, the way it's succeeding so well right now, isn't it? Nobody needs to be bailed out, do they? So there's
Well, that's the
socialism
grabblers.
for all
That's the
these
grabblers.
corporations.
So communism has never worked and never will work, but the
But
reason
socialism is happening right now for all the large corporations that are desperate and holding the government hostage right now for money,
What?
saying that if
Yeah.
they don't get $50 billion by the end of the week, that they're going to lay off a whole bunch of people.
No, I think that
Capitalism doesn't work.
Wait a minute. Wait. The government takes our money by threat of force, and then when the government shuts down all the shit, and then we're like, hey, we're getting all fucked up here, and they give us some of our money back, that's socialism?
That's not.
No,
social-
he's
that's
talking
not
about the
how-
no.
that's not how
No, he's
the
talking about the
system works.
banks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not
Talking
giving
about how
that
the-
money to. They're not giving that money to people. They're giving it to corporations. And
Yeah, he's
corporations.
Those are what you're
He's
discussing.
talking about the 1.8
They're-
trillion.
They're giving the money back to the corporations in order to bail out the banks that they owe money to. They're not. I mean, yes, they're helping the company, but what they're really doing is they're saving the banks because they don't want their freaking collateral.
Well, then
They're
that's not
stealing.
capitalism, is it? That's socialism for these banks and corporations.
It's okay. So
The
look,
government
it's
is constantly
reverse
bailing them
socialism.
all out.
It's the people giving their money to banks, not the banks giving money to all the people. It's reverse socialism.
Okay, look, listen. Where I'm from, if you cannot work right now, you get like 80% of your salary until this whole thing is over. Like,
Awesome.
to the people, right? So and
That's
a lot
great.
of it goes back to the people, but I agree. Capitalism in this situation shows that it doesn't really work, right?
Well,
Because
that's
Well,
why
those
you
are-
fight so hard for
but-
your
but
government.
that's-
Capitalism has
that's
failed
bad.
over and over and
No.
over and over again.
It's been one of the most successful things in the world. It's why people have been lifted out of poverty.
So why does it keep
Yep.
failing so many people?
It doesn't.
It's the
fail.
banksters, man.
It is.
They're
You
just
can't
trying to
say it's
keep
not
Claim
the
failing.
it
banking
is,
system
doesn't mean
afloat.
it is.
The wealthy people cannot lose their investments, so they're gonna bail out the banks, not the people. I make
Yeah, what's this too big to
a
fail
week.
bullshit?
I'm not. I make $1,800 a week. I'm not getting no fucking 80% of anything. As a matter of fact, I can't even sign up for unemployment or disability because you can't even call you can't even call them right now. You call it, says there's too many people. Call back later.
You got to do it online.
America has
No,
one
no,
of the worst.
I went online to do it, and my password was wrong. So I said to request my password. They still haven't sent me an email giving me my password. So that's
yeah,
why I was calling.
America has one of the worst healthcare systems of all the developed first world nations. But that's not a fault
That's
of
right.
capitalism. That's just a fault of our extremely right wing governments, right? That just
That
that-
is
No,
don't
it's
care
no,
about
no, it's
people.
no.
That
It's
is
the fault.
capitalism.
No,
Wait.
the problem is, Brenda, is that the politicians have allowed the American people to sign up for a program talking about healthcare to where the pharmaceutical companies and the whole industry is making so much money off the American people. No different than your company when you pay $1,300 a month and still have to pay a copay of $700. It's just your company sold you out. Not that you're a bad person, but your company, that's the program they picked for you. And that's what you signed up for.
Here in my country, we have a medical for all type program, and you guys in America have this private healthcare insurance system, and your government still pays double per capita per
Exactly.
person
Yes, it's bad.
than my government.
But that's
we
just
have
a matter,
medical
that's just a
for
matter
all.
of that's just a matter of public policy and the willingness to pass legislation, right? That's all that is.
That's called greedy politicians not giving a fuck of what we say. Because guess what, Brenda? We could go all out right now and go vote in America. Say, hey, we want to lower it. And you know what's going to happen? The powers that be are going to say, fuck you guys. We're making money over here. We don't care. You just got to take what we give you.
That's true at all. I don't think that's true at all.
No, that's exactly what happens. Because you know what? How many times we try to pass things locally so to go to the Senate or to make it to the Congress?
Against it. People vote
No,
against
oh
it.
my God!
Yes, they do.
There's okay. Look at. Let me tell you something, Brenda. Now
the
I'm gonna,
senators vote against it.
yeah, it's the politicians that vote against it that don't allow it to even get into the House to get onto the floor to be voted for.
Because they represent
Medicare for
extremely
all is
conservative
overwhelmingly
districts.
popular
The
amongst
reason why they
population.
vote against it is because they're all paid and bought for by the lobbyists, so they'll never let that go on the floor to vote for. They will never let it get there because they're paid off. They're bought. Our politicians are bought. So to say that we can change healthcare in our nation is a complete don't even say that because it's
nobody can deny that.
No,
we could.
No,
if
we
voted.
can't.
Yes, we
No,
could.
no, you don't get it. Even when you vote, your senators are the ones that are going to vote on it, not you.
So it's completely
your
helpless.
vote.
We're completely
Yes,
helpless.
you're right. Exactly.
I refuse to believe that we are completely
because
at
the
the mercy.
Senate and the House is bought. It's completely helpless because they are bought. There's nothing that you can can try to vote for locally to when it gets to, okay, yeah, let's say it passes locally, right? They do they in your county or in your county, they do a vote, and they get that first they pass out, the little people that stand out in front of stores. Hey, can you sign this petition? We need 250,000 signatures to make it on the ballot, and then, or whatever it is, and then they get enough signatures, and then it gets voted on, and everyone's like, yes, we want this new healthcare where we pay less, and then it gets put onto the bigger spectrum, and now our senators are going to represent us, and they take that bill to the House and say the state of California wants this. We need to vote on it, and then everyone, all the Democrats and Republicans alike, are going to say no.
Well, we tried really hard to pass the public option for the ACA, and that was voted against by the GOP senators who come from very conservative districts who didn't want to have that. So if we voted, if we assumed that people voted in large enough numbers, you could change that. But
no, you can't.
The fact that there's
when it
corruption,
comes to the Hill.
Well, the fact that I refuse to believe that the fact that there is corruption means that everything is hopeless. I don't believe
that's
that.
why you're naive, because you think that there's hope, and they want you to believe that. They want you to think that your vote counts.
No,
do you know that, Brenda? Do you know that every time you go and vote for anything, do you know that? I used to work at the county, right, Los Angeles County, in the voter information. I was actually witnessing the fraud going on. I've seen a guy get taken out in handcuffs. Wanna know why? Because he was manipulating the things that go on the ballot to begin with. Now, let me tell you right now, here in Los Angeles County, let me share something with all you guys. Wanna know the city that has the most dead people voting? Compton, the city of Compton.
They want you to believe it's hopeless. Because
no.
Hold on.
That's what allows
want us to believe that.
To continue. When you
hold on,
believe,
Brenda. Hold on, Brenda.
Well,
hold on, 1 second. Just 1 second.
You
have to understand.
I was in the middle.
I know, but I have 2 seconds. I'm at work. I've got 2 seconds. I'm at work. I can't speak for very long. I'm in somebody else's office. You have to understand that the states have more rights. Massachusetts had health care for all before it went across the whole country, but it failed miserably in Massachusetts. States have more rights, and they can opt out or opt in to anything because the states have more power than the federal government, and our Constitution was set up that way. So if we want something within a state, we can have something within a state, even though it's not federal or across the country. Any national law can be overridden by the state law. Every state has its own constitution as well, little known fact. So if the state wants something, they have more power. We, the people, just need to remind the federal government that they don't have as much power as the state on a local level.
That's true.
That's right.
And I got a quick question, if I could. I'm just curious, because I'm listening to you guys talk about healthcare and about the government giving you money when times are tough and all this other shit. Why is it that we feel like we have to look to someone to do things that, in my opinion, we should be responsible ourselves?
Because unfortunately, that's the society we've been raised in. That's
no,
the system
it has not. No, you're responsible for your own actions, my friend.
No, it's because
you're responsible for your own actions.
We say that, but that's not the life we live here.
You may not, but you can be responsible.
No. When I say we, I don't mean like me. I mean everyone in a collective.
This attitude is why we don't have healthcare in the United States.
What's wrong with being responsible for your own actions, Brenda? What's wrong with being responsible for your own household? Like, how is that a bad attitude?
Because healthcare is insurance. Healthcare is insurance, and the way insurance works is that everybody chips in, and it lowers costs for everybody.
Well, why are the costs inflated to start with? Would be a good question.
They're not.
Yes, they are.
That's why
Americans
buy their medications
insurance
in Canada?
companies?
So
These insurance companies that stand between the patients and the doctor's services that take a lion's share of the money that's charged to the patient.
Because they would get less under a good healthcare system, under good insurance.
No, it's an extremely wasteful system.
No, insurance.
So here's the thing.
Works.
The reason health costs in the U.S. the reason the health insurance here in the U.S. is so high and the cost of healthcare is so high is because doctors actually, knowing that the insurance company will not pay out as much, they will actually bill more than they really need. And if you have a cash system, if you walk into a doctor's office and say, "Look, I want this procedure, and this is how I will pay this much for it," they will take that. If it was more of a cash-based environment, more free market, the health cost in the U.S. would go down drastically because of
there's no competition. That's right. There's no competition.
So,
I mean, a procedure in the States costs, on average, 5 or 10 times more than it costs almost anywhere else in the world.
Yes, because we have a bad system, and distributing the costs through insurance available to everybody would be much better.
No, that's the wrong answer.
How about you just get the insurance people out of the way? They're an unnecessary entity, like a salesperson.
That's how car insurance works.
Let me explain to you why it's the wrong answer, Brenda. Can I have a second to try to explain why
you can shop for car insurance?
No, nobody's going to let me.
You have plenty of time. You have plenty of time.
Yeah, go ahead.
But the way car insurance works is that people get into accidents, and you have insurance because it distributes risk among a larger group of people, and on average reduces cost. The same with healthcare.
That's the idea. That's the idea, but it doesn't actually work like that.
That's exactly
people
how
are taking advantage of that.
Well, that's exactly how it works in car insurance. Car insurance works. Of course right?
Yeah, but you can shop for cheap car insurance, though. Sorry, Paul.
And also, no, that's okay. Let's talk about car insurance. You know, if you get an estimate and you know the insurance company is going to send you a check, most people will go to the most expensive person and say, "Give me an estimate," and they may say it'll cost you $5,000 to get your car fixed. The insurance company sends them a check for $5,000. They turn right around and find Joe Blow down the street. They can do it for $3,000.
That is not how car insurance works at all. They tell
I've seen it happen.
Tell you how much. They tell you how much that because they know the cost of fixing that fender. They know that cost, and they won't accept an offer that is too high. They won't accept it because they already know how much that costs. And the same should be true for health insurance.
Yeah, but the assessor will tell the insurance company that the damage is worse than it is, and who's gonna verify that?
The insurance company has their own assessors, and
Brenda, let me tell you something.
Their interest is in keeping the cost low for the insurance company.
Brenda, let me tell you something. I understand what you're saying, and once again, there's real life experiences against what you think, not what you have experienced, and you could probably try to go to data and science to try to come up with an answer in your brain, but there is real life experience, things people see, been through, they heard it. So let me tell you something. My cousin wrecked my car. He didn't even wreck it, he just crashed it, but all the airbags deployed. Okay, the assessor came out. I went to my buddy's shop. He has a shop where he does like restorations and stuff, but he also does insurance claims. He'll order all the parts, the OEM parts, because the insurance those companies always want that you have to have the manufacturer shit. You can't have like aftermarket shit. So he does that. He deals with insurance companies. The assessor came out and said, "Oh, your car is totaled," just because all the airbags have been deployed. Even though, like, to fix the car, it would have only been like $4,000 or $5,000, but because of all the airbags, that cost too much. It's a total write-off.
$5,000? That's kind of a lot.
Yeah, well, because you have like because the lights it was hit from the side, so like the lights, the under panels,
Yeah,
and the
frame
sub
bent?
panel.
Was the frame bent?
No, the frame wasn't
It was
bent.
hit from
no.
the side. It seems to me likely the frame was bent.
No, not from the side like a T-bone. Like the left corner was hit. Or no, I'm sorry, take that back. The right corner was hit. It was my cousin was driving my car and he hit like the side rail, whatever, and it was just like $4,000 to $5,000. But like I was watching him.
$5,000 is a lot of money.
It adds up quick
Still
because
a
you
lot
have
less than a new car.
That's a
Brenda, that was a $35,000 car, and $5,000 of it was racked up for what was damaged so far. He's just doing that on the outside. He didn't even look in the inside yet. So that's why when he went inside and then saw like the rip in the seats, the rip. What I'm telling you though, hold on, just let me finish. He then wrote it off, right? So then I got it checked and I just went and got a new car. Now I take my friend because now I know that my buddy, I didn't know that he used to do this, that he worked with an insurance guy. So now I take my friend over there. She has, I think it was the right front panel. No, I'm sorry. It was the left side. That's the driver's side. The left front panel was dented, right? And the bumper too. So she takes his car to him. He has an assessor come out and they give him an amount, like it's going to be this much. And that's my buddy telling the assessor, I'm going to charge this much for it. Okay. The assessor goes, okay, cool. Goes back. That's, I guess they have to call the insurance, let them know, okay, this is what they're going to be the price. The insurance sends my buddy the check. My buddy turns around and orders parts that he gets a discount on. So now it's almost like he gave them the retail price, but he's only going to pay the wholesale price because he's a business. He has to make money off of it. So then he tells my friend, hey, for sending me this, I'm going to pay $300 for hooking it up. So not only did that price, the amount of what needed to be fixed, not only was it less because he's getting a discount on it because he's a business, he's making money off of it, he even had enough money to give my friend money for even bringing him that business. So to say that the insurance people are only going to pay what it costs is completely a farce because the companies are in to make money. That's capitalism, right? They're in to make a dime, a profit.
There's nothing wrong with that.
So unfortunately, the pharmaceutical companies think the same thing. They don't think there's nothing wrong with it for charging you $80 for a pill that costs 10 cents. They don't think nothing wrong with it either.
That was your analogy, really?
That was your analogy?
Your personal anecdote doesn't address what I was saying, which is that on the whole, insurance lowers costs for everybody, just like insurance lowers costs for people for car accidents. Insurance in the healthcare system would lower costs for healthcare, and I'm not even.
So
talking,
why is it that the U.S. healthcare system costs so much more than it does everywhere?
Because
in every other developed nation in the world has socialized healthcare that is cheaper and better for everyone.
Because of corruption.
Everyone's covered.
Because of corruption.
So then who's in charge of that corruption being there or not there? Who's in charge of that?
In the final analysis, the voters are, because people have not voted to put into place.
So you're not going to put the people that are in office right now accountable for the things that are going on with the American people right now.
I want them out of office and to get better people in. Yeah, I want to reform the system so that there's less corruption. Yeah, and I think that the way to do that is some kind of public option. And I don't think that a universal health care would be viable politically in the United States.
Well, it works. It works in almost every other developed nation in the world.
I know that.
And it works great. It works really well.
But politically, it's going to be, that would be a heavy lift politically to get.
And why is it a heavy lift? It's a heavy lift because of the corruption in government.
No, because of how the institutions are already structured, it would be very difficult.
Look,
So
the other
more
problem you've got too is
pragmatic solution,
a great
the more
example is the
pragmatic
recent.
solution would be to use the public option.
Look, the other problem you've got, and it's been highlighted with the recent Democratic primaries, and that is election fraud, which is straight up right there obvious. The UN says that if exit polls, if exit polls, the UN says that if exit polls are more than 4% different to the actual results, then the election should be redone, and that there's been some kind of tampering. Now, in the recent primaries, the exit polls have been for anywhere from 10 to 15, even up to 20% out of whack with the results. So there's obvious election fraud.
No, that's not an indication of fraud.
I don't think that's true at all.
You can't correlate that.
It's obvious. The results are there for you to see if you want to look.
Okay, if it's so obvious, tell us how exit polls are conducted. Tell us how
they poll people. They poll people when they come out of the polling venues.
Is a poll a survey? Is it a sampling? Yes, it is. And is a sampling subject to error as well as a differential to the representation?
That's why they say if the exit polls are more than 4% different to the results, then there's been some kind of. They do this in every other election around the world. When the UN goes and assesses elections in other countries, and they find the exit polls to be more than 4% different, then they.
There's other reasons, other forces involved that will make.
And yet you've got exit polls that are 10 or 15% out of whack with the original results.
It can happen. Yes, that can happen. Do the sampling, do the type of environment that they're sampling in, their type.
Not to mention your electronic voter machines have been proven to be manipulated and easily manipulated by that.
Can you give me some evidence of this proof?
Zanuck.
I can. Absolutely, I can.
Hold on, Rams, hold on. Zanuck, you never saw the video of the guy that had to go testify to the Congress?
Yes.
The one who actually developed the software for the machines to do that?
Mm-hmm.